Hey, this is Perry Peacock with Wilderness Innovation. Up here we just finished a scout camp where we did snow caves. We had the snow here about 4 feet deep, 4.5, 5 feet deep, and we burrowed back in here and made snow caves. And then we did the snow caves a little different way than most scouts. Just bore a hole in there, big enough to sleep in, and that's good. And we actually did these, so they're kind of started out so it's a little more accommodating if you have to spend a good bit of time in there. So one thing I like is we make our doorway big, so it's easy to get in and out. It's easy to dig the thing out, and then once it's all dug out, you can cut a snow block between this. So you saw it in right here, you can put a snow block across here, and you can close it down a ways however far you want to. And we just used a parachute canopy to close off the doorway last night, and that worked fine, but we could have put a snow block just as well. Alright, so here's what we've got. I'll take you inside in a second here, but we burrowed straight back into the sleeping shelf on the right, sleeping shelf on the left, and if your snow's deep enough, you can have a tall enough dome in there where you can actually sit upright on the sleeping shelf and make yourself a lot more comfortable. One of the things you want to dig down like this with our entryway here is because your coldest air will settle to the bottom, and that way you're sleeping up above the coldest air. You want to sleep as close to the top as you can, because the warm air rises from your bodies or candles, whatever you got in there. So the closer you are to the top, the warmer it is. Now in this one we didn't do it, but we could have put a sleeping shelf across the back as well. So this little deal here could accommodate three people very easily. We built 3 shelters like this last night, and everybody slept very comfortably and warm, and everything in there. Particularly up here, out of the wind. That's one of the big deals here. Then here we had a scout overnight up here. We made some snow caves, and they've already crashed theirs in now. That's the tradition. Break them in after you've slept in them. But I wanted to show you this one before it caves in. But I'll show you a little bit more about how we did it. But just so you can see, we came in with we've got the walkway in the middle is down near the ground level. We came up about knee height to our sleeping shelves. So that way we're up out of the coldest air that tends to want to gather in the bottom of the shelter. And so it works really nicely. And so you're kind of up out of it. If the snow is a little deeper than it is, it's only back in here, it's only maybe 4 or 5 feet deep. If it was a little bit deeper than that, we could have made the ceiling a little higher so you could actually sit in here. Alright, so let me show you my setup here. I've got, didn't really need them both, but I have two of our survival blankets, a tall and a regular size. And this is very nice. This works really nice, especially in a crowded shelter like this where you're not having to climb in and out of a mummy bag or zip in and out of a regular sleeping bag. To get in, you just raise up your 2 layers and crawl in there, and you're good to go. And everything will just lay on top of you. If you need to get up in the night, you just slip out and go. Come back in, slide right in. You're good to go. Nothing to fiddle with or fuss about. And one of the nice things here too is this, because these blankets are very breathable, your body moisture that accumulates during the night, it just goes right through them. So I mean, these blankets are just as dry as they can be, and even if anything dripped from the ceiling or whatever, it's not going to make any difference on this kind of a blanket. And I don't need anything waterproof over it or anything like that, which makes it nice, because if I have to do something like that, put something waterproof over it, then I'm going to accumulate a lot of moisture in here just from my body Then if you're sleeping in here 2 or 3 or 4 days, each day it's going to get less comfortable because of the buildup of moisture. But with this, the way this stuff works, the moisture keeps getting pushed out and doesn't accumulate, doesn't tend to want to accumulate in here. And so I'd be just as good tonight as last night. Now, the other thing I did is I put a sleeping pad underneath, or a foam pad underneath, to insulate me off the snow. Normally, if I were out hiking into somewhere or whatever, I would probably I'd probably break off a bunch of pine boughs and put on here to lay on instead of this. But since this is a drive-up camp, I brought my foam pad. I did put my Multicam HD Alpine HD poncho down underneath as a kind of like a ground cloth. And again, I didn't really need that, especially since I had my foam pads. But I don't know. I had it, so I threw it in here. What the heck? So it worked really nicely. Here's how I'd be sleeping in here. And again, for me, I like to sleep on my side, so I slept on my side and had an extra thick roll up there for my pillow. And one of the nice things is, you know, if it's really chilly or whatever, I can pull the blanket. I can pull the blanket clear over the top of me, and I can be all the way inside of it, and I'm perfectly fine. And it gives me actually extra warmth because I'm breathing in and out warm air instead of breathing in cold air and breathing out warm air. So anyway, this is my little sleeping setup on my sleeping shelf there. My survival blankets, and this is Multicam and OD. The other one I've got in here is Multicam on both sides. And very nice and cozy. Didn't want to get up this morning. It's just too darn comfortable laying there and nice and warm and comfortable. Who wants to get up, you know? But you got to. One other thing that makes it easier when you're doing these snow caves is just a cheap old-fashioned carpenter's saw, and you can cut snow blocks and that's nice for when you got to form a shelf or something. It's also nice to remove big chunks of snow out the door instead of a lot of loose, small snow. And some of the guys last night were pulling, 50, 60 pound blocks out of these caves instead of having to shovel, little shovelfuls of snow constantly. Take out some big blocks and remove a lot of snow at once. So if I were to get here into this little section here, and I can take this saw and cut down here. Now, when I was growing up, my dad actually owned some of these kind of saws, and I used to, believe it or not, I grew up before there was a lot of the power tools. So I can come down in here and make another cut this way. And I've just removed a big block out of there, and I can keep on going if I want to. So anyway, see, that's a quick way to remove a lot of snow, and it's easy to trim your sides up and stuff like that. Make yourself some nice straight sides in here. Especially you get into some icy snow, it can really be a benefit because because the saw will go through that pretty easily, or a shovel might just jam into there. So anyway, you could have a lot of fun with this. Some of the guys really got good at it. Anyway, so there, I just made the hole bigger.